I used to buy and sell tools as a hobby. That means I have things like this in various places. This is a pile of old ratchets that someday I'll get around to cleaning and servicing. Today, we're going to pick one out of the pile. I'll show you how to service it, how it works, and what I know about this ratchet design. Today, we start with a real classic, the SK Roundhead Ratchet. And here it is. We can tell this is an older example because it has the diamond logo and the slimmer handle. Newer examples are a little bit fatter. We can see one here. They use the same mechanism, but they're cosmetically a little bit different. I have owned dozens and dozens of these SK ratchets, and I've opened many of them. From my experience, this is a pretty tough mechanism. I have gotten a few that have been broken, but most of the time, if they're not working right, they just need to be cleaned and serviced. This one is working, but not great. The clicks are kind of dull. It sounds to me like it's gunked up. When you're looking at these, you want to make sure it works at least a little bit. If it's totally frozen, it might be broken, although I've gotten some of those that just needed to be cleaned as well. And this one has the socket retaining ball. Make sure to check that if you're looking at a used ratchet. The way you disassemble these SK ratchets is by compressing this clip, and then you can pull the mechanism out. But the first thing you want to do is take a pick and clean out this groove here, because if this groove is all full of junk, you won't be able to compress the clip and you won't be able to get the ratchet mechanism out. Next step, put on those safety glasses. To get the mechanism out, you need to put the ratchet in neutral. So turn this dial halfway between the two directions so that the ratchet can spin freely. Then take a pair of small pliers, I use these 45-degree bent pliers, and compress the clip, and you should be able to push out the mechanism. There we have it. Just as I suspected, this mechanism is all filled with hardened grease and isn't ratcheting very well because of that. Checking out the teeth on the pawl here, and they look pretty good. They are obviously a little bit worn. This is an old ratchet, but they're not chipped or damaged in any way significant. Looking inside the ratchet head, and it's a similar story. The teeth have wear, but none of them are broken, and there's no damage that I can see. I ran the parts through my ultrasonic cleaner, but you can also just scrub them by hand. Here we have the mechanism fresh out of the ultrasonic cleaner, and it's looking pretty good. Another note, if you're cleaning up an old ratchet like this, you don't need to disassemble the mechanism any more than this in most cases. Just scrub it down the best you can, blast it out with brake cleaner down in here to get any gunk out, oil it and put it back together, and you should be good to go. I'm going to show you how to disassemble it more, but like I said, you normally don't need to do that. As best I can now, I'm going to show you how to do this. You press the pawl down here, which compresses the spring inside. Then you can grab this and pull it out. Whoop! Lost a piece. We got flying pieces here. I managed to find the pieces that flew out. Here they are right here. But that's one of the reasons I recommend not opening the mechanism like this unless you really have to. Here's a tip to prevent you from losing some of the pieces. Take a big Ziploc bag, like a 1-gallon bag, put the mechanism inside, put your hands inside the bag, and then disassemble it. If any pieces go flying, they should be caught in the bag. I didn't do that this time because you can't shoot a video very well through a plastic bag. There are a couple more pieces here. This little pin also comes out. Let's pull that out with a magnet. Then you can pull out the pawl. There it is. Here we have all the parts of the SK ratchet mechanism, and as you can see, it's pretty simple. This spring rides down in the hole here on this piece, and the spring pushes up on the bottom of this pin. Then the pin pushes on the bottom of the pawl here, and that spring mechanism is what allows it to ratchet. I'm going to put it back together now, and hopefully I'll be able to get all this on video. You put the pawl in here, line up the holes, then you put this pin in there to hold the pawl in place. Next, we're going to put the spring in the hole down here on this lever, and the pin goes on top of that, like that. To get it all back together, you need to push the pin down with something while you push in the lever. And try not to let anything go flying. There we have it, all back together. Next up, put the selector back in place. And there's that. It's time to finish this off. You'll see I have one finger through the back here holding the selector in place so it doesn't fall off. Then I put the clip in the groove where it needs to go, and I'll compress it with the pliers, and it should go back together. And again, you need to have the ratchet in neutral to put it back together. There it is, all back together. And it sounds much better. Those are much sharper clicks. Well, it's definitely not going to win any beauty contests, but it's working great. The ratchet mechanism now has a nice sharp click. It's clearly working very well, and this is ready for a few more decades of use. If you have any questions, post them down below. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you like this video, and subscribe so you can see my new videos when they come out.